A villain is a person or thing responsible for specified problems, harm, or damage. Now, what does that mean exactly? That means there is villains in every sport. There's villains in UFC, there's villains in the NBA, and there is also villains in the AFL. And I'm going to take you through them today. I've picked 10 to share with you. So who do you think's going to be number 1 on this list? Who do you think's the biggest villain in AFL history? Leave a like, subscribe, and let's get straight into the video. Number 10, we have a former Saint in Stephen Milne, also known as the Tip Rat. And the reason I've put him on this list is because he is a smart ass.
I mean, the umpire said then that was reckless.
He's always getting under people's skins. A lot of fans do hate him, and I think if you're hated by the fans, you automatically become a villain. An absolute superstar. Definitely top 5 small forward of all time. Stephen Milne, in that period where St Kilda were making grand finals back-to-back, he was definitely a part of that dominant force that were St Kilda's troops, Ross the Boss's force. And Stephen Milne, a tip rat, best describes him because he's always around the packs, getting into people, sort of intimidating them in a way, sort of scaring them and putting them off. So Stephen Milne at number 10 in the villains list, I believe, fits perfectly. So at number 9, we have Tom Lynch. Now, you probably were expecting to see Tom Lynch on this list. Now, obviously, this is the Richmond Tom Lynch who formerly played for the Gold Coast Suns. He has had a lot of history with being reported, and a lot of times he's been let off, which, especially in 2020, which was frustrating for not only teams around the competition, fans as well. He's had a few iconic moments around the media, including his king hit, you could say, on Alex Witherden, his jumper punch on Michael Hurley, and him stirring up Sam Collins as well. Another thing Tom Lynch is obviously famous for is his poor set shot kicking in easy positions, but I do believe before he got injured at the start of the year, he had improved on that, definitely. He is definitely hated by a lot of fans, especially around the media, and I think Tom Lynch is a villain for that, for sure. So Tom Lynch at number 9 on this list. Alright, so at number 8, I have Dustin Martin. Now, you might be thinking, why Dusty? He's a hero to me, and I agree, Dustin Martin has become more of a hero now, but before he won his Brownlow and he won those 3 flags, and 3 Norm Smiths, he was a villain. He had a lot of history in the media, of course, threatening to stab a woman with chopsticks.
Tony, Dustin Martin has emerged from Punt Road a short time ago. Surprisingly, he had very little to say about this alarming incident that happened here on Chapel Street on Saturday night here at the Mr Miyagi restaurant behind me. Today, a 30-year-old woman contacted the Richmond Football Club stating that Dustin Martin had threatened to stab her in the eye with a chopstick before allegedly slamming his hand into a wall behind her.
That's probably his most famous incident. Another incident is when he did this celebration for his dad, and I honestly don't see anything wrong with it. He wanted his dad back in Australia, so I'd do the same, really, if that was me. But, Dustin Martin, I probably liked him more in his villain phase. Maybe it's because I just got sick of Richmond winning all those premierships, but, yeah, Dustin Martin, definitely a villain in my eyes for those reasons. A lot of people do hate him, but a lot love him as well. And I definitely think before those Brownlows and before those premierships, he was a villain, and a good one at that. At number 7, I have Jordan De Goey, another famous villain on this list. I think his villain arc started at the beginning of 2017, where he lied that he got a hand injury, a broken hand, while he was playing with his dog, but he actually got in a fight at a bar. So that started it all. Goey lying there, and then in 2021 obviously charged with assault, and then in 2022 Jordan Goey had that incident with Barley where it was kind of overreacted, you could say, but there was a lot of rumours going around then, and now in 2023 he was suspended for 3 weeks for his bump on West Coast player Ruben Jimby, I believe it was. Just let me double check that. My apologies, it was Elijah Hewitt. West Coast are irrelevant. Of course, I'm not going to know who the player is. But yeah, Jordan Goey at number 7. Us Pies fans, we love Jordan Goey. We love how he goes about his football, but there are fans around the competition and even opposition players who don't like Jordan Goey, and you got to admit, when he's on, he is on, and Goey, probably my favourite player for Collingwood, I'd have to say. There's just nothing you can really not like about the way he plays. He's a bull, as they say, and Jordan Goey is 7th on the villain list. Number 6 on this list, I have Andrew Gaff. Andrew Gaff, obviously going to be known for his punch on Fremantle superstar Andrew Brayshaw, and well, that is one of the most ugly hits you'll see, especially the aftermath of Andrew Brayshaw having to eat food out of a straw, which was obviously pretty bad and pretty severe. So Andrew Gaff was suspended for 8 weeks post that hit and missed out on winning a premiership in the 2018 season. He definitely regretted what he did, Andrew Gaff, and I almost feel bad for him. I know he shouldn't have hit him, but 3 seconds could ruin yourself winning an AFL premiership. That's how quick it happened, and Andrew Gaff is hated by some fans, maybe a lot of Freo fans as well, which could be fair enough, but he was very sorry for his actions, and number 6 on this list for that big incident, and Andrew Gaff is number 6 on the villain list. Number 5 on this list, I have the biggest smartass of them all. It is Fremantle, the purple pest, Hayden Valentine. Hayden Valentine was a small forward for Fremantle, played for, I believe it was 2009 all the way to 2019, so about a decade of Hayden Valentine stirring up players in the AFL. He's had an incident with Andrew Walker and Cade Simpson, and also he got punched by Matthew Scarlett. He always got into players. He was a good player, that's for sure. Like, when he was on, as most small forwards are, they are dominant when they are having a good night, and that's what Hayden Valentine did. He could kick goals from anywhere, really. I think he's probably underrated. I'm not a big fan of him, and I do think he deserves to be on the villain list, obviously. But the reason he's in the top 5 is because he's the biggest shit stirrer of them all. Always picking fights, perhaps cheap shots like that one on Paul Chapman. And Hayden Valentine is number 5. My apologies, number 5 on the villains list. Number 4, we have one of the greatest AFL players of all time, and that player is Wayne Carey. Now, Wayne Carey started off his career at North Melbourne. He was an absolute superstar there. In 2002, he had a famous affair with former teammate Anthony Stevens, and he had an affair with his wife Callie Stevens, which obviously brought a lot of heat to Wayne Carey and a lot of hatred towards him. Post that affair, he also did cocaine, so another reason why he is a villain. In 2003, North Melbourne played Adelaide twice, and Wayne Carey played for Adelaide. at the time, and the North Melbourne players such as Glenn Archer were really getting into him. This game was played at Marvel Stadium. They were getting into Wayne Carey. They couldn't knock him down though, and then they played a game later that season at Football Park, and Wayne Carey kicked a miraculous goal from the boundary line, and I just love that goal. I love the celebration. I love it all. That's an iconic moment from a villain. You gotta love a villain tearing it up. And Wayne Carey certainly did that a lot during his career, and that's why he's one of the greatest AFL players of all time and one of the greatest villains of all time as well. So at number 3 on this list, I have Ben Cousins. Now, Ben Cousins was a superstar at the beginning of his career. He won a Brownlow medal, and everything was going right. He won a premiership as well. And in 2007, Ben Cousins was suspended for 15 games due to him taking illegal substances and also not going to training, I believe. Yeah, he kept missing trainings, kept misbehaving. Here's the article now.
Good evening, welcome to 7 News. West Coast Eagles former captain Ben Cousins has been banished from the club. Cousins is suspended indefinitely for breaking too many rules. The final straw was when the Brownlow medalist failed to show up at training.
It's been revealed he was drug tested at Eagles headquarters on Monday. And from inside the club, a story of turmoil is emerging, with fellow players coming to blows over the dramatic downfall of their former skipper.
So yeah, Ben Cousins gonna become a villain if he's doing stuff like that. He had the potential to probably be the best player of all time. I still think he's one of the greatest of all time. But yeah, just a bit of very stupid, his actions that he did, and he's had a lot of drug history, of course. He went to Richmond for a couple of seasons, played pretty well there as well. He was a gun. Like, in his return game after that 15-week suspension, he managed to rack up 38 disposals. So that just shows why would you take drugs when your career's going that well? He might have had other issues going on at the time. I haven't looked at it in great detail, but yeah, Ben Cousins is 3rd on the list for those reasons, and yeah, an absolute superstar of the game, but has been hated by a lot of fans for his history. Number 2 on this list, we're getting exciting now. I think you guys might know who could be in the top 2. And 2nd place, we have Barry Hall, Big Bad Barry. Wow, wasn't he a figure? Barry Hall, jeez, he's had a lot of bad moments. One including the famous hit on West Coast Eagles player Brent Staker, which surprisingly got him less weeks than the hit that Andrew Gaff did on Andrew Brayshaw. So Barry Hall got 7 weeks, whereas Andrew Gaff got 8 weeks. So, gee, the AFL must have liked him. But yeah, definitely a villain. He started his career at St Kilda, then played for Sydney, won a flag with the Swans, then went to Bulldogs, 2010. They lost in a prelim, so he came pretty close to winning the premiership with the Bulldogs, and I believe he played in the 1997 grand final as well with the Saints. So Barry Hall had a great career. He couldn't complain with that, but he has had some famous moments, including the punch on Brent Staker, trying to choke out Scott Thompson, and also getting into a bit of a fight with Harry O'Brien as well. He's had many more famous incidents. I believe he got a 150-metre penalty paid against him as well, which isn't big, but it's big for a penalty. Like, 50 metres seems big, but to give 3 consecutive 50-metre penalties away is just weird. Barry Hall also used to do boundary commentating, and I remember one time where these players were his fans on the bench were stirring him up, and I could just see his face getting red. I'm not sure if I could find the clip, but if I can, it'll be on the screen now. But yeah, he was frustrated with that, and he was a frustrated footballer. But Barry Hall was an awesome villain and an awesome icon, and that is why he has earned the second spot on today's list. At number 1, we have Toby Greene. Toby Greene. He's had so many incidents in these last 5 seasons. Oh, I should say 7 seasons, because it mainly started off with that famous boot where he stuck his boot out at Luke Dalhouse, and that was ugly, wasn't it? With his studs, had his studs out and got him right in the face. And also he did it with other players as well. I think in a final he did it on a Sydney player, or he stuck the boot out. It wasn't in the face, but it's just still a dirty act, you know. And also he's had incidents with eye gouging. He's been suspended for finals. He's bumped an umpire, whether it was on purpose or not, I don't know. I think it was a bit of both, a bit of an accident, but also a mixture with frustration as well, which made him miss out on more finals in the 2021 season. He has cooled off a little bit, but a lot of fans do love him, but there is a lot that do give him hate as well. And he is known for his dirty acts. I think he's cooled down a little, which is good to see. And I love Toby Greene. People used to say I played like him, and people still do say I play like him, but I'm not as much of a forward anymore, so maybe you can't say that as much. But people even say I look like him, the way I don't know, play my footy. I just address that, but I don't know, the way I'm built and everything, but I don't think really. Anyway, a bit off topic there, but Toby Greene, what a villain he was throughout his career, and still is in his career. Why am I saying throughout his career? But yeah, an awesome villain, an awesome player, and I honestly think if they play him in the midfield a bit more, he could win a Brownlow. That's a massive call. He's earned that captaincy at GWS, and you don't see a villain get the captaincy too often, but Toby Greene is one of the only exceptions. And Toby Greene is the biggest and best villain in AFL history. Alright, so that was today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see more top 10 videos like this, leave a like. If you want to see more challenge videos or stereotype videos, subscribe. And yeah, we're on the road to 1K, as I've addressed a few times. So help get us there. Just hit that subscribe button. We want to get to 900, and then we want to go straight through to 1K. And we're going to be giving away a box, so make sure to subscribe and like this video, and we'll see you guys next time. Cheers.